duty. How about that? Taking care of things for us. So, Megan, it's great to be here, and good morning, everybody. We're looking forward to another exciting season here of basketball here at the Watsco Center. It was a historic season last year, as everybody knows, with our men going to the Final Four and the women to the Elite Eight. We're looking to build on that momentum. Coach Larinaga is entering his 13th season, Kate Meyer entering her 19th season here at the university, and it's that kind of stability that has at the top of the programs that has enabled us to have the programs with the strong foundations that we've had, and I think that's a really big part of the success that both programs have had. Jim and Katie will be here along with the players a little later to highlight things within their program, but I wanted to take a few minutes just to talk a little bit about the basketball program since last year's great run. Both of the teams took foreign tours this past year. The men went to France, the women went to France and to Greece. It was a great opportunity for our student athletes to kind of embed themselves in the cultures of those countries. It was a lot of fun, and I think there was a lot of great memories for the student athletes. We had some great supporters on the trip as well, and I think everybody had a great time. Across the breezeway here, we are opening up the Susan and Stephen Simons Basketball Training Center. It's a new weightlifting and sports medicine area for our student athletes, particularly basketball. So we're really, really happy about that. It's 7,500 square feet. It includes the strength and conditioning room, the recovery area, nutrition bar, and office space for all of our professionals in the sports medicine and strength and conditioning area. We're very grateful to Susan and Stephen Simon for providing that lead gift for that particular area. That's going to be really important for our basketball programs. We'll be having a dedication of that on November 10th, just prior to our men's game against Central Florida. That night we'll also be unveiling the Final Four banner for the guys, and then 2 days later on Sunday the 12th, the Elite Eight banner for the women. The success of last season has been very, very good. We're up about 60% as it relates to ticket sales in men's basketball. That equates to about 1,400 tickets, and we're up 32% in women's sales as well. So we're excited about the opportunities to kind of move ahead with ticket sales for both of those programs and really get some really great environments here. You see how the court's set up. This will be our court set up for our games this year, so we have a lot of demand for premium seating. So you can see there's some changes and premium areas being put together here on the court. So we're excited about that. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you have for basketball or Hurricane athletics in general.
Dan, you mentioned ticket sales are up for both programs. I'm kind of in a similar vein. Has booster and donations increased? And then I don't know if you know, but on the academic side, have applications increased? Often there's like an increase when teams make the Final Four, make deep postseason runs.
Yeah, I think that from the donation perspective, there was great enthusiasm for both programs last spring, and that kind of catapulted towards our end of the year donations that kind of came in at the end of fiscal year 23, which ended in May. As it relates to applications, the University of Miami has had record-breaking years in applications the last couple of years. So it'll really be this year where we will see whether those numbers have gone up. So they're in the middle of that application cycle right now. So we'll see where that takes us.
Dan, we've heard the possibility of softball being added here for a number of years. I think even Paul D mentioned it once upon a time. Where does that stand? Is it close? Is it something that you want to see happen in the short term, long term? Is it on the table? Just can you tell us where it stands?
Yes, it's definitely on the table, and it's really something that's important from my perspective as we continue to create great opportunities for young women here at the University of Miami. We're in the process right now of evaluating where best we may be able to put a softball field. We have some folks who are very, very interested in being benefactors of the softball program, so we're putting proposals in front of them to get some of the dollars necessary to build a stadium and start a program. I've kind of done that before, so I understand the timing of how that all works. So really excited about that opportunity. As we move forward, I could say that women's softball is the next women's sport that we would look to add here at the University of Miami. And now the timing, as it relates to a lot of things, is a little bit up in the air still, but it's part of our initiatives to kind of move that along as quickly as we can.
Are there men's sports also on the table?
Not at this time.
Can you, hi.
Hi.
Nice to see you again.
Good to see you.
Can you talk about a little more about the court configuration? You said, extra premium seating and stuff like that, a little more details about how things will look different or feel different.
Well, I think that just as you see the court, there was a demand there for the increased premium seating along the court. We had a great group of courtside donors that needed to expand, and we were able to pull the configurations together. We'll look at television in maybe a different location, maybe back upstairs where it had been during the COVID time period. We'll move the radios to another spot as well, giving that area the primary spot for our donors. This is not unique. There are many places around the country where they have the donors on the floor and move some of the media into different locations. So we're looking at the Hurricane 100 room, which is currently right behind our student section, will be the premium seating area for those donors, and we're looking to have a great amount of enthusiasm as they move ahead.
Are you hoping, I know you said season ticket numbers are up. There have been some nights, there have been a lot of nights, where if it's not a marquee opponent and it's a weeknight in December, you know where I'm going. The place just hasn't been what it can be. I don't know what you can do to change that, but when you see this place only at 55, 65, 70% capacity for certain games, what is the approach to try to change that?
Yeah, I think that, and a lot of times, especially in basketball, you have time periods where the students aren't here. And really on any college campus that I've worked in, when the students are there and excited, the atmosphere changes dramatically. Okay, so we're going to try to do a better job of moving forward with groups and other, maybe some young, local folks to be able to come in during those time periods. But midweek games, non-conference games that you need to play to be able to kind of move through the schedule, those are they're tough, and they're tough everywhere. That's just not a Coral Gables or Miami problem. They're tough in a lot of places. So we're going to continue to work with our marketing areas and our ticket sales areas to kind of bring as many people here as we can. And the product that I think Coach Larinaga and certainly Kate on the women's side are going to put out there, deserve to have as many people in here as we possibly can get. So it's a high priority for us.
Dan, things have kind of quieted down on the realignment front right now in college sports. But I guess where are you guys in the administration kind of on that front? I'm sure you're constantly evaluating things. And how much do you guys take into account when looking at stuff like that, how it affects basketball, baseball, and other sports on campus?
Well, we're a full-service athletic program, so as we look at different opportunities, we're considering everything. But at the end of the day, realignment has been, and you guys understand this from just what's happened. It's really triggered through football. But at this point in time, while evaluation is always there, you're always making sure that you're putting your program in the best light possible. There's really nothing else moving on right now. It's probably quieted down a little bit. We continue to want to be a great partner with the Atlantic Coast Conference and make the league the best it can be. The addition of Cal and Stanford and SMU, I think, has solidified the league. We just left ACC meetings last week where we're working on finalizing schedules for both football, basketballs, and the Olympic sports. So hopefully those are going to come out in the very near future to let everybody know who we're going to play, in each of the next 7 years. When those games are, we'll get that a little closer as the ACC schedule normally happens, which is the end of January for football.
I know it's not you doing the schedules, but Olympic sports here have always been very successful and they've been a priority. What Amy's done, what Paige has done.
Right.
How concerned are you that there's going to be challenges in making this work with schools 3,200 miles apart now? That there obviously will be logistical challenges to get through. What's your level of concern as far as how Miami's going to fare?
I think, well, first of all, we fly everywhere. That's one of the things. We don't take a bus. North Carolina and Duke are 7 miles apart. They can take an Uber, but we don't do that. So it's just that where we're going to point the plane when we leave. That being said, we're not going to have all of our Olympic sport teams going to the West Coast, multiple times during the course of the year. There may be some years when they don't go at all, okay? And those teams are going to come here and play. For example, the soccer's, volleyball has a little more extended schedule. We have to start to think differently in some of our other sports. For example, our golf program doesn't play other ACC golf programs during the course of the year. They play tournaments, and then they come together for an ACC tournament. Our track program doesn't have the long ago dual meets or a thing of the past. They do tournaments. Well, maybe we start to think about that in tennis. And just come together for a tennis tournament, and crown an ACC champion. We've got to be able to think about these things different now that we're a much larger conference as it relates to geographically. And that's one of the things that the senior women administrators are looking at as they talk through these scheduling options.
Any other questions for Dan?
All right, folks, have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.